usually known to play all these tragic heroine roles, right?
You're attracted
but
to
they're
it.
fine. They're fine, you know. I can do it, like, you know, that strong woman that goes through all that hardship.
Yeah.
Even though there are like so many crying scenes, but it's fine. But yeah, once it comes to a mental, like,
Right.
mentally challenging role, you know, it's like all these like emotional ups and downs
Yeah.
and all that dark moments that you go
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
It just gets to you without you even knowing.
She's had a long, successful career as an actress and now owns a successful patisserie called Once Upon a Time. She's here. I'm so excited. It's Jeanette Aw. Welcome, Jeanette.
Hi, Jean.
I know you just came back from Japan. It was a work slash holiday, was it a bit?
It was mainly work.
Okay.
I was there to have some meetings and settle some things, and also to visit Takasaki.
Right.
And my main purpose really is because I'm gonna be bringing my brand Once Upon a Time to Japan.
That is so exciting. Oh my gosh. Do we know when it's gonna happen? Like when it's gonna kickstart over there, or are you still in the planning stages?
Yeah, we're in the initial stages. We're
Okay.
gonna be like finalizing some recipes and the packaging and the marketing and all that.
Yep.
But like for me, and I've got two partners actually,
Okay.
and we're all on the same line that unless we're happy with like what's there
Yeah.
and what we've come up with, then we'll not push it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll just take our time
Yeah.
and like fine tune the things and make sure everything is perfect.
Correct. You are like a perfectionist. I mean, like, I don't know how you deal with it because your work is actually very, very physically laborious as well. But let's go back a little bit to a role that you had. There was a character that you played. I think it was the 2015 drama series, The Dreammakers 2. And that's where you played a character who falls into depression because of a series of setbacks and mishaps. And then we read about the fact that, on your Instagram, that you actually went through a dark time as well. Can you tell us about what happened then and maybe how you dealt with it?
Actually, it goes back to when I was like in university and I did psychology.
Right.
So all this was of great interest to me. And I didn't want to just play a role without knowing any background or having any knowledge about it.
Yeah.
So I actually did contact two psychologists who actually dealt with patients with depression, and I spoke to them. So as I was like doing this role and I was like looking at the script and all that, I actually did feel there were some discrepancies, like, in terms of attitude and behavior of someone with depression. Right. So I did bring it up, and I was like kind of like rejected. Like, it's like, no, we're not going to change anything and stuff like that. So long story short, I just felt like it was a war between me and a group of people.
Right.
Yeah. And
Okay.
also because I felt this sense of responsibility, because the doctor actually did tell me, like, Jeanette, can you please help us and not misrepresent depression?
Of course.
So I felt even more obliged and that I had to do something.
Yes.
And we did go through the filming, and until one day, I don't know why, I just suddenly broke down.
Right.
Yeah. And my director was so shocked, because it's like I was okay one moment and the next I would just be like, I was like crying.
Yeah.
And it's uncontrollable. It's like I don't even know what happened. And that
Right.
was the very first time that I broke down just like that. So it kind of like made her more aware, and she actually raised this issue with my EP,
Yep.
my executive producer, and
Yeah.
told him that I think we need to sit down and listen to her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
so
course.
that's when we actually sat down and have a meeting with the scriptwriter, and also I invited my doctors into the
Yeah.
meeting as well, so that we're all aligned. I slowly found myself spiraling in towards that dark hole.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there were many, many moments like I was filming and like a group of my co-actors were like laughing there and joking and all that.
Right.
I'll be laughing with them, and then just the next moment, I broke down again.
Okay.
Basically, the whole production team, they were so kind of like, I would say they were worried.
Yeah.
And also they didn't know what to do as well, because there's no way I could stop it or I could
Right.
control. So like moments where I kind of like stopped for 1 minute, the
Yeah.
director was like, quick, let's just catch a few seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would try,
yeah.
and they would get that few seconds, and then the tears just came down again.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of like
Well,
a challenging period
yeah.
for me.
Was it the fact that you were delving into this role, and because so much research is done for this role, that you embodied it, that's why it was bringing up all these emotions in you, and therefore you found like the parallels with the character as well as in your own life that was making you very
Yeah, I
like,
guess in a way,
yeah?
yes. I think also like when you do all this research and when you're watching all these documentaries, you kind of, and also like because you're an actor, you have to open yourself and open your heart
Yes.
to let all that emotions come in. And as you said, like, you know, the parallels between the role, the character, and myself,
Yeah.
I felt that they were all aligned.
Right.
And I was like, I was so feeling her.
Oh my gosh.
so
yeah.
yeah, it took a while before I actually could come out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we finished and we wrapped up the production, the EP actually came to me and spoke to me, and he was really worried.
Yeah.
I think they were so scared
I'm
that I would do
sure.
something stupid.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
and that is worrying. I mean, to see your actor, this happen to your actor, obviously you really immerse yourself in it. I mean, that's a mark of a great actor already. you know what I mean? To really get into it and not like decide to be superficial and just sort of wing the character, which you didn't do. You see?
I would like to see it that way.
I mean, I think no one else sees it differently, honestly. But how did you find yourself getting out of it slowly? Did you do anything to, I don't know, take baby steps to get out of that zone? And yeah,
I think I'm fortunate because I did psychology when I was in university.
Yeah.
And I did all that research. And also the main reason why I actually sourced and looked for 2 doctors was also because I wanted them to be my safety net.
right.
Yeah, but eventually I did not need to look for them. Ironically, is like as I was playing the role, I was aware of all these feelings that were changing inside.
Yeah.
It's as though it's like I'm like a third person looking in.
Right.
But the thing is, like, even though I'm aware, like logically I know, but emotionally I can't control.
Right.
Yeah. And I was also losing weight. Even though I would like be eating and all that, it's still normal for me, kind of like normal. But I think when you're so sad
Yeah.
and the emotions are so dark, you just kind of just lose weight without even knowing.
Right.
And I was just so sad.
I mean, looking back, would you have changed your way in approaching this role in order to preserve some kind of sanity? I mean,
No, I don't think I would have changed anything.
yeah, you wouldn't have changed any. You would have done it exactly the same way, isn't it? Yeah, it's
because
the process.
like sometimes I think about it and I think I've represented it true to
Yeah.
what it should be.
Yeah.
So when I was going through a really dark time, I was going through like a difficult time, my director actually did like speak to me, and she said that, you know, Jeanette, this is just a character. Just do it and just let go. You know, it's like you don't need to like just hang on to it until it's, you know.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like it's a responsibility as an actor, and also to not always portray a stereotype.
Yep.
Yeah, because sometimes on TV or like on any platform
Yeah.
that shows depression. Sometimes it's just very stereotypical representations,
Yeah.
and sometimes for TV purpose, it needs to be dramatic to the extent that
And
she
it's a bit-
feels more mad
Right.
than
Yeah.
depressed.
Correct.
Yeah, so I just wanted to maintain that balance, and I
Yeah.
was like, I didn't want to let go.
That's the consummate professional in you, Jeanette, and we're happy for that because that's the kind of quality TV we want to see, in the actress, and having integrity in the role that they play.
Actually, this isn't the first time that I played a role with depression or
Right.
like with any mental challenges. A role before this was actually 破天王 breakout, and she had a multi-personality disorder.
Right.
So I also same thing, like did all my research, and that was more complex because she would change from one
right.
personality to another.
Yeah.
And I actually, while reading a script, created 4 characters.
Right.
And at that time, I was also playing the mother, so that's also my 5th character.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I first played that role, I had the same breakdown as well, but it wasn't so serious as when I was doing that depression role.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember like doing that first scene, and I went home and I was still crying. Yeah, so it also made me feel like, it's all these roles that are darker that would be more challenging to an actor.
Yeah.
So I'm very known to play all these tragic heroine roles, right?
You're
But
attracted
they're
to it.
fine. They're fine, I can do it. Like, that strong woman that goes through all that hardship.
Yeah.
Even though there are like so many crying scenes, but it's fine. But yeah, once it comes to a mental, like
Right.
mentally challenging role, it's like all these like emotional ups and downs
Yeah.
and all that dark moments that you
Yeah.
go through.
Yeah.
It just gets to you without you even knowing.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that is just being human, isn't it? I mean, you have to give yourself some sort of vulnerability in order to also portray the role fantastically. Right now, I mean, are you still doing any roles, any acting? Do you have time for that right now, or no?
Now, not
No,
so
right?
much. No.
Yeah. But in your daily life, right now, I mean, like, how do you deal with like days where you're not feeling great, or like, maybe something's not working out or whatever? How do you face difficult days right now? Not as an actress, but like, in
I
difficult
think
times.
all along I've always been quite quiet when it comes to dealing with my emotions.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know there are like some people who love to share. Maybe sharing makes them feel better. But for me, I just need some time alone. People feel like they're smart enough to advise you on life, but we all have our own lives, and I have my own issues that I probably don't feel very okay with sharing
Right.
at that moment in time.
Yeah.
So friends around me know that I would come to them when I feel I'm ready to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing is sometimes I'm quite aware of how my emotions are going.
Yeah.
So I kind of like am able to keep that in check. It's
Okay.
just that sometimes I may need some time to get over it.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you all, like, in your own personal space, as you take the me time, right? Do you journal, or do you like draw, or do you like, is there something that you do on your own personal basis while you are dealing with your emotions? Like, for example, I like to like just doodle. I'm very much like yourself. I kind of like, I keep my stuff to myself, and it takes a long time for somebody to like, so Jean, tell me what's really up with you. It takes forever for my friends around me. So I like to doodle, or I like to like just zone out on the couch for like 3 hours. on my
I do
own.
that too while I play games.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Yeah.
do
Do things that, just relaxes the mind,
Correct.
that you don't dwell on it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the time comes for you to feel those emotions, just let it go.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like because you're so busy in your patisserie and you're there all the time, it's 24/7 for you. Do you ever feel like you are a robot going through the, like kind of like the day to day? You just have to like, you almost have to like shut off your emotions sometimes and go into robot mode where, okay, this is what I have to do today. So I'm just gonna shut off the feelings and do it. Has that ever happened to you, and does it happen often?
I think maybe when I first started the patisserie, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was challenging. There are many people who say like, "Oh, Jeanette, she's a celebrity. She's just having this as a hobby."
No, man. Oh my
But
gosh.
honestly,
No
I would
way.
find a more relaxing hobby.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
and or like things like, oh, she's just doing this for fun.
Oh dear.
and
No,
and
no, no,
it's
no.
this celebrity status that people feel like, you're not taking this seriously.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I actually I stopped all my work to go to school.
Yeah.
I got my cert from Le Cordon Bleu and all that.
Exactly.
So it's like, I am serious about this, I want to be taken seriously.
Yep.
But the initial stages and all that, it's like people have all these things to say about you.
Yep.
Of course, there are nice, supportive ones as well, but the nice ones are always quieter.
Yes.
Initially, I also wanted to fulfill as many orders as I could, because like once we released pre-orders, they were quite, I would say, I would say I'm very blessed. They
They
do
were
fill
so
up.
good. Come on. Like,
So I did try to like fulfill as many as I could.
Yeah.
And it came to a point where I was really there from morning till like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
every day, or like sometimes 11. And it was so tiring because like,
course.
baking at home with a small amount and
Like,
versus
sure, yeah.
baking
Yeah.
with a 25-liter
Exactly.
mixer. Yeah, and I was just reaching a point of burnout.
Yeah.
Like I felt that was when I felt like I was just a robot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like I needed to keep that passion alive.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I made some adjustments and all that, and also with time,
Yeah.
I could manage, like, if I felt that, okay, this month I may have a few jobs here and there. I may need to travel for work. I would be able to plan a time.
I mean, I read about this. I think this happened at the beginning where you worked yourself so much you fainted. It made the news, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Jeanette.
I know, it's okay. So I've always had a history of fainting, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got low blood pressure
Alright,
and
alright.
also low sugar.
Okay.
So the very first time I fainted was when I was in secondary 4,
Right.
and I was at the bus stop, and I just felt like, okay, I feel very weak, and I blacked out. I fell and I knocked over the bin, and I could feel. And the thing is, like, even though I blacked out, I
Yeah.
was still conscious of what's
Okay.
going on. So people like helping me out,
Yeah.
like put feng you on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my first time. And after that, a few years later, it happened again, like when I
Okay.
was in college.
Yeah.
And then like a few years again. And when I go to the doctors, like I think it's only when I'm really extremely tired and all
Yes.
that. So the thing is, like, I couldn't fulfill the next day's orders, you see. So
Yeah.
I had to explain.
Okay.
And then people started to say again that I was trying to get attention. That,
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's just that because the previous few times I didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
Like I didn't need to announce. I think my most serious one was when I was doing the Dream Makers.
Right.
Yeah, it was the Chinese New Year break. And I remember I was with some friends, and that day we were like, after a gathering, we walked into the lift, and I told them, I think I'm gonna faint. And then they were like, oh my God, are you okay? When the lift door opened, I walked out, I fell pop.
Oh my
And there was this reeling there. I hit my head,
Oh my
just
God.
barely missing my eye. And then I was like bruised, like really like bruised
Right.
here. And they told me my body was flat, like straight
Yeah.
rods, like
Yeah.
really like rods, like straight. I went pop. and I hit my head and I felt like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the funny thing was, when I went back to filming,
Yeah.
because in that role, I'm always getting bullied, right? That was
Right.
part one. I was always getting bullied. I was the actress was trying to make it big.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right.
so I always get bruises here and there, and they have the makeup artist to
Yeah.
draw the bruises on.
Yes.
But that day I was having to cover it up. And then the director was like, is there a bruise on your head for this role, for this scene? I'm like, no, this is real.
Oh my God. Oh my God,
Yeah.
Jeanette. I mean, okay, so obviously it's because of stress, lack of rest, and low blood pressure and stuff like that. But how are you managing that like right now? I mean, in your life, are you managing that better? And
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, because like as I told you, I could like control my time.
yeah,
And also like with my orders and all that, we do keep it within that comfortable
Yeah,
range,
okay.
like that quota.
okay.
So I do get some rest.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. I mean, maybe you should get one of those watches, those that measure your blood pressure.
Oh, I do have it.
You have it?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my
I
gosh,
do.
wear it all the time. Where is it now, Jeanette? Oh my God, please wear it. I mean, just so that you can monitor yourself all the time, you know. How do you deal with the pressures of taking your business and making it successful for a long time? Like, I mean, we all go through different pressures in life, whether or not it's like work or school or a business like yours. But how do you deal with that? Because I can tell you're a perfectionist. You want it in exactly the way you want it, and that's the only way to run a successful business. But it can be hard. I mean, to constantly 24/7 think about it. There's no off days in your brain, right? How do you deal with that pressure? Is there like one day where you tell yourself, okay, man, on Sundays I won't think about it, or like on Mondays for 2 hours I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna just skip and not think about it. I don't know. How do you deal?
Now that you mention it, I think the main difference is with acting, I get paid. But with the shop, I have bills to pay.
Oh my gosh, that's right. And people to pay.
Yeah,
oh
and
my
my
God.
rent and all that. Yeah, so
Oh
that's the main
gosh.
difference. And
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of like unconsciously, whether you like it or not, you're always thinking.
Correct. When you have your own business, that's what happens, right?
Yeah, you
But
have
how?
stuff to pay, you have bills to pay, you have rental to pay.
Correct.
Yeah, so you are always thinking about like, okay,
Right.
so what's next? What I'm gonna do and all that.
Don't you
Yeah.
find that overwhelming? Do you find like you have to like put a little full stop on it, or like turn off your phone for a couple of hours, or do you ever have to do that, or you actually like you can go, you can get in there and do it?
Oh, but the thing about me is like when I'm tired,
Yeah.
people can't tell. Like when I was doing
Yeah.
the Little Nonya,
Yeah.
and I was sleeping like 2.5 hours every single day. I was
Wow.
filming every day for 4.5 months.
Right.
People didn't believe I was tired. And actually, like the more worked I am, the better I look.
Oh my gosh.
It's so weird.
That's the
because
happiest
like if I
problem
go
ever.
into the makeup room and like my face is puffy, my eyes are puffy, they'll be like, "Do you sleep too much?"
Oh my gosh, that's so weird.
know.
We have a few things that we're going to do right now, one of which is a drawing block where we've been getting all our guests to like write a message of encouragement or anything about whatever you want to say to anybody. And we're not too sure what we're going to do with it yet. So you can write whatever message you want.
Okay.
And then once you're done, you can let's show it to the camera and just like tell us what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. You can draw, you can like do anything.
It's just to let you know to bring your own sunshine.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cute. That looks like you.
That's my girl that I drew. I have a book on
That's
yeah,
right.
so Sol.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's carrying her own sunshine
Oh my
in
gosh.
darkness.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So always bring your sunshine wherever you go amidst the
And
dark.
I feel that the best person to help yourself is you. Yeah. So I feel sometimes we kind of like, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you feel like, oh, it's going to be a bad day. Somehow things would happen that kind of like make you feel that, I was right. It's going to be a bad day.
Correct. Yeah.
So sometimes it's how you think about it.
Yeah.
And it's, no one will know what you're going through exactly other than you yourself.
And the next thing we're going to do is a little mind break segment. We have a sloth and we have a rainbow, so you can choose whichever one, and we're gonna just paint it so that we have.
The sloth.
You can have the sloth.
I
yes.
feel this is like my spirit animal. I wish I could be the sloth.
Sometimes you just need to do something really simple like this. So I thought we could do something fun like this and decorate it however we want.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are paints that I think are very easy to come out. So you can use the brush and we squish stuff on it. Let's try the texture. Okay, oh my gosh.
But I'm like, what color should this sloth be?
Yeah.
Like bright pink.
That's right. It's a lot of space. A lot of space, right? So here are our creations. Look at the artist. Look at Jeanette's one. It's so beautiful. I love it. Even though the brush that we're using was like really, difficult to use. Thank you, Jeanette, for your time
you so
today
much.
and for
Thank you.
sharing and
Thank
for
you
being
for having me.
open. Yeah, no, I mean, it was such a joy chatting and catching up. So thank you all for watching, and I hope this really helped you in any way, shape, or form. And a big thanks as well to My Village at Serangoon Garden for supporting this podcast. Till the next one, bye!
It's a very lonely place, no matter where you are, whether you're in a boy band or whether you work in an office, or you could be a young teenager, you could be a 40-year-old person. It's a lonely place. And, when I said I was in a dark place, I certainly was.